we've got a lot of space at the back. Open it up. Hey Darren, what are you doing there? Tesla just started deliveries of the Model Y here in Singapore. Today, I have Eugene, a proud owner of a brand new Model Y, to hear why he got it and his first impressions so far. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Eugene, how many days ago did you pick your Model Y up?
On Thursday.
Thursday.
September.
So just 3 days ago from today's filming. How do you feel right now?
It's been exciting. Learning more about the car and getting to drive it around. Well, who can drive it more? But it's been fun.
This is a 2022 rear-wheel drive coming in grey, which is going to be a unique color, I believe, in Singapore. Eugene, for those of us who are new to Teslas, can you give us a tour of the exterior, please?
Sure. So unlike a normal car, Tesla doesn't have an engine. So at the front, you can actually have more space, and they call it a frunk. Additional storage space, and in the case of a Model Y, it's even more than a Model 3, so it's even deeper. And lots more utility. And then if we come around the side, Tesla has lots of cameras. There are three up there, but on the side you have a back-facing one there, and this is a forward-facing side camera. And these support the autopilot features. And then around on this side, you would get the charge port here. Just press on it. A CCS2 port. It's basically the standard charge port in Singapore and Southeast Asia.
What made you decide to get the Model Y, Eugene?
So I already have a Model 3, and but this is actually my wife's car, and she really likes SUVs. She likes the higher driving position, and of course, we've seen all the videos and the reviews, and the Model Y is pretty good. So it wasn't a difficult decision actually in the end. Yeah.
Elon believes it's going to be one of the world's most popular cars by revenue this year, by volume next year. What were the alternatives that you and your wife were considering before getting the Model Y? For instance, the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Yeah, we did consider the Ioniq 5. We actually took a look at it, and it's actually really nice. It's got good design and good features, but it was not easy to get. I think they said we had to wait, and there was so in the end we just went with the Y. Yeah.
One was the waiting time.
Yeah, one was the waiting time, and so you know how it is. You're a Tesla investor, right? And which I am. So in the end, I just kept encouraging my wife to just go with the Tesla.
So slightly biased.
A little bit biased, yes.
What I'm hearing also is that it's not like it's a super obvious choice because there are more good EV options out there as well.
Yeah, there are, but I think in terms of bang for the buck, it's kind of hard to beat the Tesla. We were looking at some of the German alternatives as well, and those are so expensive. So, like I said, at the end, if you consider just the pricing, and then the fact that we already have the 3, so we are familiar with, the interface and everything. Yeah, it was just the best choice.
What was one thing that made your wife say yes?
I think when she tried it, she felt immediately comfortable with it because she's driven the 3, and when she realized how much space there was inside, she wasn't sure about that, right? But when she sat at the back and then looked at the boot, she said, "Okay, this is a lot, very good utility." So that convinced her.
There is a lot of space behind.
Yeah.
I think about 4 times more than a Model 3. What made you all decide when picking between the base rear-wheel drive version and also the performance version?
Of course, the running cost, it was one aspect. So the Model 3P, the performance I have, the insurance was quite high, and road tax as well. So we thought, since this is just a daily run around car, just go for something that was as cheap to run as possible, right? So that makes a difference for sure. Yeah.
This is a daily family use car. The difference in price in Singapore right now, the rear-wheel drive is around 250,000 Singapore dollars inclusive of COE. Category B COE right now is about 112,000, and the performance variant is about 300,000 Singapore dollars. So almost a $50,000 difference. As Eugene mentioned, the road tax insurance would be higher also.
Okay, so let me show you what are the things that sold my wife on getting the Model Y. We've got a lot of space at the back. Open it up. Hey Darren, what are you doing there?
Well, you don't have an engine and found a lot of space down here. It's pretty huge.
So there's even more below the floor.
Yes, this Model Y is packing a lot of space. So as you can see, it can actually almost fit me. I tried putting my legs in and didn't fully work. But let's look at all the space you have here in the Model Y. So you can see both the rear seats can also be laid flat behind. You can put in your golf bags, you can put in your surf equipment, no problem at all. So we see all the space here in the Model Y. I think this is going to be a very compelling car for family use. What do you think is going to be the use case for your family with this vehicle?
So definitely the ferrying kids, and so it'd be great for trips to the airport when we're traveling, loading all the bags in there. But also, sometimes we go out with. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have the 7 seats, right?
No, not in Singapore, not yet.
So it'll be a bit of a tight squeeze, but sometimes we get a few more people in when we go out for dinners and things. Yeah.
I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, in some countries Tesla doesn't have the 7 seats because the third row is pretty close to the back, and in some countries for safety, they need a little bit of buffer space in the back in case of collisions. Yep. Very big difference from the Model 3 trunk as well. You use the Model 3 now for almost 3 years, yeah?
Yeah, it's about 2.5. Yes.
And do you ever come wanting for storage space though?
So for myself, it's just a car I drive every day for myself, and not so much. In fact, but the only thing I guess between this and the Model 3 is I like the bigger opening at the back, because the Model 3 is just a regular boot, and the opening is a little bit narrow. So for when I load in bigger bags, it's a little bit more tricky. So this is so nice, right? Having the huge opening at the back.
You don't have to bend down to load and unload items.
Yep. And bulky items as well. So whenever we have to do the trips to IKEA, furniture store, this will be good. Yep.
Earlier you saw from the front, it looks pretty similar to Model 3, yes? Model Y behind is a completely different vehicle. In Singapore, our roads and car parks are smaller. How do you find navigating the Model Y on Singapore's roads?
It's okay, actually. I think most car parks, they've been given a bit more space for the lots. So it's not that big if you compare it to some of the big cars on the road, right, these days. So it has been fine so far.
So there you have it, the trunk of the Model Y. Now we're going to head into Eugene's car, and we're going to just talk a little bit more about the experience handling it, driving it, the comparison in Model 3. See you inside the Model Y. We're here inside the Model Y on our way to Katong V Supercharger. Eugene, you've been driving this car for the past 3 days. How does it handle? How's the driving experience?
It's been very good. In fact, surprisingly taut and good control, considering it's a highly, it's a SUV, so it rides higher than a Model 3. And the body control has been very surprising. For an SUV, it's I used to have an X3, and I found that car, if it went over bumps and humps, you get quite a bit of roll because the car was tall, but you don't get that in a Model Y. That surprised me quite a bit.
Also, I wonder, because this is a newer version, Tesla does make very gradual improvements every year to their car. So I know one of the things that older Tesla owners notice when they get new cars is that the driving experience, the suspension does feel a little bit better. How's the cabin noise, Eugene?
It's quite a bit quieter compared to the 3. It could be because I think my three tires are starting to get a bit old, so I'm getting a bit more road noise. But for this one, it's so quiet. Well, I guess the double glazing helped. I don't have that on the three. And just overall refinement, um, like you said, they've improved little things, but it makes a difference.
Another thing that many Model Y owners notice is that if you look at the front, the visibility is actually pretty amazing. How do you find it comparing it to your Model 3, which you drive a lot?
So the Model 3, it's actually also has good visibility in front. But this one, it's even better, like you said. And then of course, sitting higher helps as well with the visibility. So I prefer this to the 3, in fact.
Some owners do say, those who drive Model 3 and Model Y, that the rear glass is smaller though because of the hatchback design. So it may be harder to see the rear a little bit more. How do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. The rear visibility is not as good, so you probably have to rely on the cameras a bit more. And in fact, that was something my wife uh, complained a bit about as well. That the glass at the back, I guess it's the shape of the boot, right? And the boot lid. Yeah. But
Agree.
with lots of cameras, when you're in reverse, everything comes on, all the cameras come on. I think it's okay.
Yes, and with Teslas, when you make the turn signal, you can see that your blind spot camera comes up as well. With a new software update, you can now actually even change the position of the blind spot video. Many Singaporean owners are getting the new software update this week. So that's another big thing about Teslas, isn't it, Eugene? In your almost 2.5 years owning your Model 3, how many software updates have you already gotten?
Quite a few. I've kind of lost count, but a lot of new features have come in. So when I first got the car, basically there was no Spotify. Or rather, the Spotify app wasn't really working well. And then very quickly they updated it, and now I use Spotify, TuneIn, and some of the other apps like YouTube. They're much more. It's just more stable. So they've made improvements along the way. And then other things as well, like the blind spot camera. That's a new feature that we didn't have a year ago, in fact. So these over-the-air updates are actually really good.
People who've never driven a Tesla before say, okay, you get software updates. How substantial or material of an improvement does it have for your car?
I think it's substantial because I've never owned a car where so much additional functionality comes out from just software update. So in fact, like you mentioned, the new update to where you could move the camera, the blind spot camera around, that also adds better traffic information coming through the navigation as well. So I've got that update on the Model 3 now. Yeah, and just overall stability. You can feel things are getting more stable, and you can see that they're trying to iron out some of the bugs as well. Yeah, over the last few years.
Software is getting better. Now let's talk about hardware. You've owned the Tesla Model 3 since 2020, and over the years, your first Tesla Model 3 was from Fremont factory. This Model Y is from Giga Shanghai, and 3 years has passed since then. What difference have you noticed on Tesla's build quality for the paint, the panel gaps, as well as the interior?
So definitely noticeable. The panel gaps. So the Shanghai cars are very well made, actually. In fact, I complained a little bit about my Model 3 when I got it, but with this one, as far as I can tell, so far no complaints. The paint quality is good too. But I think the biggest difference for me is the interior. The additional wood trim on the doors, and then of course much better quality on the center console. The materials, the feel, and the things that surprised me was just even these indicator stocks. The feel of it when you select the indicator, just the feel, it's much tighter and smoother. So even little things like this, they've made improvements, and I wasn't expecting that, but very nice to see. The steering feel is also better as well. So just overall, the Shanghai car just feels better bolted together, tighter, feels more. I don't know how else to describe it. Teutonic, I suppose. It actually feels closer to the German cars now. So yeah, overall very happy with the build quality now.
Giga Shanghai has had good reputation for improving and raising the bar on Tesla's build quality. The new Giga Berlin also has a lot of good feedback as well on the quality. So the two new Giga factories, Berlin and Austin, are building on all the improvements that Giga Shanghai has brought in for Tesla. In your time driving this, because you have a Model 3 performance, acceleration is 3.3 seconds to 100 km per hour on that. This one for the rear wheel drive is 6.9 seconds. What's the practical difference you notice about the acceleration here?
You know, that's a funny thing. In real world terms, I don't really notice much. In fact, if I had to be honest, I'm mostly driving on chill on the Model 3, even though it's got that, if you go into sport mode, it's got that fast acceleration. But on, driving around town, you don't really need it. And I'm now convinced that if I had to do it again, I'll probably not get the performance. I would just go with the rear wheel drive. For me, in fact, the more now that I own a Y, I would say my dream Tesla really is a Giga Texas Y with the 4680 long range. I would just go for that if you gave me a choice. Yeah, because I think that would be the perfect balance of everything.
We don't have long range Model Ys or Model 3s in Singapore yet. Hopefully one day. One reason we heard was because of the tax system here and COE system in Singapore. The price differential between long range and performance isn't that huge. So many owners are looking forward to it. In Malaysia, the most popular variant of Teslas, through parallel imports, are the long range versions. This best bang for the buck, especially as the public EV infrastructure is still building up. For Teslas, the software is a big feature. We talked about all the updates earlier, and we can even see in the center console right now, center screen, that you can see all the cones, you can see all the cars, you can even swivel the screen, you can see the bikes and the trailers around us as well. So you actually do see the cyclists outside our road, and the Tesla picks them up. And one practical use of all this software intelligence is actually to assist drivers, make driving a safer experience. What's your experience or your wife's experience driving a Tesla? How much does it help with driving safely and helping just the journey on the road?
So a lot of the safety systems, they kick in only really when you need them. So maybe we've not experienced it so much. Certainly not for the Y. But I think it's just how seamless it is. For example, the lane departure warnings or blind spot warnings, I think those are really useful. And even when you approach a car a little bit faster than normal, it'll warn you to hit the brakes. Especially when you're driving an EV, you rely a lot on regen. So it's actually my own driving style. I tend to try and use regen as much as possible. So occasionally you maybe don't hit the brakes as early as you would in a regular car. And so the warning system in the car reminding you to hit the brakes, has been quite useful for me.
Driving a Tesla is like driving the future. Eugene is an engineer. So I'd love to hear, how do you feel driving this car, being an engineer, knowing a lot that goes behind the scenes?
So you can see that Tesla is an engineering company, for sure. In terms of how much improvements they put in the car over the years. So it's just starting from the Model 3 and then going into this one, all the little changes that they've done, although they may seem small, but it makes a difference to the driving experience. So they definitely have this continuous improvement mindset in Tesla. So actually very impressive from an engineering standpoint. The fact that they put so much effort into even maybe things that may not seem so significant initially.
Their constant improvement means constant change. And one of the things that's rumored to change for the Model 3 and the Model Y next year is that the two stalks will potentially disappear. All the controls may be on the steering wheel or on the touchscreen. We're almost reaching Katong V Supercharger. You can see the navigation on the Tesla map. So the good thing in Tesla map is that you can actually just find all the superchargers directly on the map. We're pretty close, but if you want to see how we do it, you just click on navigate, you click on charging, and you get to see all the superchargers as well as the other DC and AC chargers in Singapore. In this case, we're going to Supercharger Katong V. You see the 2 there, it means that we've got 2 vacant lots. We click on this, and we're heading right in. This is Singapore's only outdoor supercharger for now. Fun fact, I believe this is Eugene's first time to Katong V Supercharger as well. You can see the supercharger on our left. There is a red Model 3 using one of the stalls. And as you can see on the Tesla, when you reverse, all the cameras assist us in getting into our bay. Welcome to Katong V Supercharger. Behind me you see Eugene's Model Y and a red Model 3. Notice the size difference from the front. Eugene's now going to show us how to charge his Model Y. You see the indicator lights, it goes from blue to green. That means it's charging, that's it. Just plug and play, Eugene.
So easy.
Yeah, that's one of the easiest ways to charge a car. Then you just wait for a while. We're pretty relatively high state of charge, so we won't be here for too long. Eugene, your journey EV started 3 years ago with your Model 3. In these 3 years, how much have you seen the EV charging infrastructure in Singapore improve?
So it's improved a lot, in the last 3 years. Certainly when Tesla came in, it accelerated the number of chargers by quite a lot. But then even in the malls now, you see so many more chargers. Every mall you go to pretty much has one. So I would say it's been a huge improvement.
There are now almost 2,000 public EV chargers in Singapore. Not everyone has home charging when they own EVs. In Singapore uniquely, I believe many of the owners I speak with, I think almost half of them do not charge their EVs at home. So that's actually a big testament to the growing availability of public chargers. I also know, Eugene, you've been in this channel a few times, and over the years, more and more of your friends have adopted EVs, Teslas and also other brands. Do you think that Singapore is now more ready to adopt EVs? Have we reached critical mass?
Critical mass, I'm not so sure, but definitely people are a lot more accepting, just among my circle of friends. Many of them have either got one or looking to buy one. In fact, I was just on a chat this morning with my friend. He was asking me, should he get the Y or the 3 and what's the difference? So I think people are quite excited, and many people are already thinking about their next purchase or their next car purchase being an EV.
What's their most common reason to get an EV now?
For many, I think it's the just the convenience and the running costs. I think the fact that fuel prices have gone up quite a bit, is making quite a big difference. That together with, I think, improving charging infrastructure, that's also contributed to it. Yeah.
Eugene is one of the earlier pioneers of EVs in Singapore. When you first got your Model 3, that was a parallel import through a distributor.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the delivery experience buying the Model Y directly from Tesla Singapore?
So with the Model 3, it was more like a traditional car distributor type of thing, where you just go to, you have the usual, you go to the showroom, you look at it, or you talk to the sales guy, and then you do a bit of bargaining. So with Tesla, it's almost like just buying an iPhone. You go make the order on the net, and then wait for them to get in touch with you to do the COE bidding. But overall, it's been very seamless. They are obviously from now, you can tell they're very professional organization now, the team in Singapore, and they're very responsive. So whether it's by WhatsApp chat or if you had to give the guy a call, both the sales representatives and also the delivery team, very responsive, very knowledgeable as well. So overall, I would say a very good experience.
Happy to hear that. Tesla's been here for more than a year in Singapore. It's a well-oiled machine now. If you do have concerns going from a distributor model direct sales, there are many owners like Eugene who've had experience. And Eugene has a long history with cars, with other brands as well, who are slowly making the transition over time. Thank you, Eugene, for giving us a first look at your Model Y.
Thank you, Darren. It's good to be on your channel again.
Happy to have you. I know many of you will be curious, what does a Model Y feel like? I'll put a video here where you can actually see me testing out a Model Y performance in Los Angeles with a friend. And also some of you are wondering, I have a Model 3 now. How does this compare with the Model Y? Here's another video where you can actually see the difference in space, in handling, in the interior. Both are great cars. Just pick the right use case for you. If you found this video useful, please click the like button. Hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Take care. Have a good weekend.